Welcome to Facts Speak channel. Before to start on our today's topic from History Archives, please subscribe, like and comment so we able to improve. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a federal holiday in the United States that is celebrated on the third Monday in January. It is a day to remember the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was a civil rights leader in the United States during the 1950s and 1960s. Dr. King was a Baptist minister and activist who played a key role in the American civil rights movement. He was a leader of the Montgomery bus boycott in 1955, which was a protest against the segregation of public buses. He later helped to found the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, in 1957, which was a civil rights organization that aimed to end segregation and discrimination against African Americans through peaceful protests and civil disobedience. In 1963, Dr. King gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech at the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, in which he called for an end to racism and for equality for all people. The speech is widely considered to be one of the most important speeches in American history, and it helped to solidify Dr. King as a leader of the civil rights movement. Dr. King was also a leader in the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. This act is a monumental legislation and a major milestone in the civil rights movement. In 1968, Dr. King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. His death was a significant loss for the civil rights movement and the nation as a whole. But his legacy lives on through his speeches, writings, and actions, which continue to inspire people around the world to work for justice and equality. The holiday honoring Dr. King was first observed in 1986. It was signed into law by President Ronald Reagan, and it was established as a national holiday to honor Dr. King's life and legacy. Today, the holiday is celebrated by Americans of all races and backgrounds, and it is a day of service, reflection, and remembrance. Many people use the day to volunteer in their communities, and to reflect on the work that still needs to be done to achieve racial equality and social justice in the United States and around the world. Dr. King is remembered for his message of nonviolence and his belief in the power of love to overcome hate. He taught us that change can be brought about through peaceful protest and civil disobedience, and that all people are equal and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Dr. King's legacy is also important today, and his message of equality and civil rights continues to resonate with people all over the world. His legacy continues to inspire the fight for civil rights and social justice, and his memory is honored every year on the Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is widely loved and respected by people around the world because of his message of equality and civil rights. He advocated for the rights of African Americans and other marginalized groups, and his message of nonviolence and peaceful protest resonated with people of all races, religions, and backgrounds. One of the reasons for his wide appeal is his ability to speak to the common humanity that we all share, regardless of our differences. He spoke about the importance of treating all people with dignity and respect, and his message of love and compassion transcends political and religious differences. Dr. King's speeches, particularly his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, were powerful and moving, and they helped to inspire people of all races and backgrounds to work for justice and equality. He also lived what he preached, and his actions and dedication to the cause of civil rights were an example to all people. Another reason for his wide appeal is his commitment to nonviolence. Dr. King believed that change could be brought about through peaceful protest and civil disobedience, rather than through violence and hatred. This message of nonviolence resonated with people of all backgrounds, and it is a message that still resonates today, as the world continues to grapple with issues of inequality and social justice. In addition, Dr. King's unwavering commitment to the cause of civil rights and his willingness to put his own safety and well-being at risk for the sake of others, has earned him the respect and admiration of people around the world. Overall, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is widely loved and respected by people around the world because of his message of equality and civil rights, his ability to speak to the common humanity that we all share, his commitment to nonviolence, and his actions and dedication to the cause of civil rights. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood for several principles that helped him to become one of the most influential leaders of the civil rights movement in the United States. Some of the key principles that he stood for are: equality. Dr. King believed that all people should be treated equally, regardless of their race, religion, or background. He advocated for the rights of African Americans and other marginalized groups and fought for their equal treatment under the law. Nonviolence. Dr. King believed that change could be brought about through peaceful protest and civil disobedience, rather than through violence and hatred. He advocated for nonviolence as a means of achieving civil rights and social justice, and he practiced what he preached by leading peaceful protests and boycotts throughout his career. Civil disobedience. Dr. King believed that people have a moral obligation to disobey unjust laws. He advocated for the use of civil disobedience as a means of challenging oppressive laws and systems of inequality. Love and compassion. Dr. King believed that love and compassion are essential to achieving civil rights and social justice. He taught that love and compassion can overcome hate, and that people should be treated with dignity and respect. Social justice. Dr. King fought for social justice for all marginalized groups, not just African Americans. He spoke out against poverty, inequality, and discrimination. Empowerment. Dr. King believed in empowering individuals and communities to take action and fight for their rights. He encouraged people to take a stand and speak out against injustice, and to work together to create a more just and equal society. Unity. Dr. King believed that unity is essential to achieving civil rights and social justice. He worked to bring people of different races and backgrounds together to work towards a common goal of equality and justice. Dr. King's principles were rooted in his deep faith and his belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. He stood for these principles throughout his life, and they continue to inspire people around the world to work for justice and equality. Please subscribe, like and hit bell icon to get notified on our new videos.